On the 30th of January this year, a US egg farm caught fire, and the chickens inside, 100,000 of them, literally burned to death. But don't worry, nobody got hurt.
Multiple crews responded to help fight the flames. The fire was contained to one building, and fortunately, no one was hurt. There is no word yet on just what caused this fire.
Multiple media sources have reported on the fire, but they've all been quick to reassure us that no injuries were reported. That's right, burning to death doesn't count as an injury. Well, at least not if you have feathers. Now, to be fair, the articles did raise important concerns that the public will understandably be worried about when they hear this terrible news. As many as 100,000 chickens are estimated to have perished in a fire, marking a number that's particularly alarming as the US continues to see rising egg prices.
Although 100,000 chickens is significant, it is not expected to impact the already high egg prices.
Oh, what a relief. I was worried that such a large number of animals burning alive like that might cause some serious problems. Now, you would be understandably mistaken to think that such a large number of birds burning to death is a one-off. Last year, 500,000 birds burned alive. In 2021, 700,000 of them burned alive. You probably didn't hear about that because it wasn't a big story. I mean, why would animals being tortured on factory farms ever be a big story? Not when Prince Harry is releasing his new and important book.
My penis was oscillating between extremely sensitive and borderline traumatized.
Anyway, I know, 100,000 chickens burned alive and suddenly animal activists are yelling animal abuse. But generally speaking, we can agree that we tend to have reasonable attitudes towards animals, right? I mean, it's not as if we teach children that animal abuse is okay. No, we teach children to respect animals. Like this fishing guide who focuses on introducing this wholesome activity to children. Their kids were a blast to fish with. Lots of fish caught and everyone had a good time. Fishing with them got me thinking about the things I do to try and ensure everyone has a good time. It's so great that you're thinking deeply about how to ensure that everyone has a good time. Well, that is unless they have scales, right? Perhaps having a hook put through your mouth and gasping for oxygen is your idea of a good time, but it certainly isn't mine. Now just imagine for a second that we were behaving this way towards someone else. Imagine if I put a hook through a puppy's mouth and dragged them into a lake where they couldn't breathe. And imagine that I thought it were a good idea to teach children that this is acceptable behaviour. Well, it's more than acceptable, isn't it? It's wholesome. It's something that should be encouraged. Yeah, bad parents allow their children to play violent video games, but good parents teach their children to torture real conscious beings for fun. Is anybody out there realising that we should just treat others the way we would want to be treated ourselves?
Down here, we loosen up. We like to party. We like to have a good time. We are very nice to our neighbors. Everybody's our friend.
Asserting that everyone is your friend while literally boiling thousands of conscious beings alive is not behaviour that's exclusive to Louisiana. In Sweden, during the summer, they have these traditional crayfish parties where family and friends get together and celebrate by eating crayfish. They have to be kept alive with running water until they're placed in a giant pan of boiling, dill-scented liquid. So waiting to eat them requires patience. It's so kind of the author to think about the frustration that I might experience while waiting for the animal to be boiled alive.
In Sweden, we love crayfish so much. We have a party just for them. Everybody brings something to the table. But the stars of the party are, of course, our little hard-shelled friends.
And they have a lot of friends. It's common for each guest to be served at least 10 of these friends, so thousands of animals are invited to these parties. Oh, what a joyous event. But while it might be uncomfortable to do so, if you really take on the perspective of our hard-shelled little friends, well, a Swedish crayfish party begins to take on the appearance of something like a medieval torture fest. We are all main characters in our own lives, and that's not just how it feels to us. That's how it feels to 100,000 different chickens every time 100,000 chickens burn alive. Now, we may say that everybody is having a good time and that we are being nice to everybody, but that doesn't change the truth. Among the conscious beings on this planet, only a very tiny fraction of them are human. Our utter disregard for the lives of most animals is so extreme that we don't even notice it. If someone burned one puppy alive, there would be public outrage. People would say things like, "What kind of monster could do that?" But when 100,000 chickens burn alive, we just shrug it off like it doesn't matter. Sometimes we wonder about how our ancestors could be so careless to the suffering of others, but we ourselves treat most of the suffering on this planet as if it were of little to no consequence. Moral emergencies are staring us right in the face, and if our descendants have any sense, they'll wonder how we could be so blind to the suffering of so many. Suffering that, by the way, would feel like the most urgent thing in the world if only we were the ones to experience it.